down! Touchdown, Colorado! And the Buffaloes find the end zone!
How about that?
Beautiful shot so that Colorado can celebrate.
Here comes Ralphie and your Colorado Buffaloes.
Time she'll take it. Maya's good from out top.
Let me hear you, Buff fans!
She's gonna fire the shot. Goal, Buffalo.
Holy cow! What a play by Colorado! For 3, they made him pay! Buffaloes attacking four-core Ryan McKinley down the paint, comes to a head fake, flips it in the corner, step back 3 is on the way. Geraghty from downtown, right between the eyes, and McKinley right with his 600th career assist on that little shovel pass into the left corner. And he becomes the first Buff ever with 600 helpers in his career. The Buffs are on top by 13. Well, every time McKinley right now steps on the court, it seems like he's setting another milestone or breaking another record. There was career assist number 600 to go along with 1,600 points. He's just a couple of handfuls away from 600 rebounds, be the first Pac-12 player ever to do that. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Colorado getting a victory over Washington State and then a loss to Utah. That was a tough one. Eli Parquet joining us, the junior from Beaumont, Texas, here for a couple of minutes. Yeah, Ken, every time he steps out there, it's a new milestone, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Ken's he's a tough player, especially because I guard him every day in practice, and we just make each other better. Iron sharpens iron, so
yeah,
it's good.
You know, with the way he plays as a point guard, when you're out there with him on offense, it's got to make you think, you know, he's going to get me the ball in a shooting position, you know, makes you work harder on the offensive end, doesn't it?
Right. It's like off the ball, I have to, move a lot and get to an open spot, so whenever he drives, I'm open so he can kick it to me for an open shot, and I'm ready to shoot it.
Buffaloes get the victory over Washington State. It was back-to-back games against the Cougars. That's an odd circumstance, isn't it? Playing them at their place and coming home and playing them at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everything with COVID and stuff, it was unfortunate that we couldn't play them here. So we just played them back-to-back, but it worked in our favor. We got it done.
All right, we got to talk blocking shots with Eli Parquet. He's 6'4", about 195 pounds. That what you are right now?
Yeah.
And he had 4 in that Washington State game, 7 over those 2 games. You become Dikembe Mutombo out there all of a sudden. What's going on with the block shots?
I've always been a shot blocker, but recently, last few years, I've been you see it on the court, but I always like playing defense and blocking shots.
Yeah.
That's where I take charges now too. That's new for me. I don't really take charges, but this year I stepped up and did that. But I always been a shot blocker, but it's starting to show a lot more now.
You know, Tad told us a story about you. He says every player you sit down after a season and kind of challenge, say, here's what I want to see from you, here's what you can do. You really took that challenge this last offseason and turned yourself into a starter and a very good defensive player for this team. Kind of go back to that and talk about your mindset during this offseason.
Our meetings with Coach Boyle, he sat down and talked to me. He was like, I want you to be that guy that'll lock down defender, and I really took that and embraced it. It's
yeah,
I want to do that, and I can do it too. And so every time I go out on the court, I keep that mindset to defense first. I let the offense come to me.
Do you like the challenge of being put on the best scorer from the other team?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're a big guy, so you can guard 6'8", 6'7" guys all the way down to point guards.
Yeah. I'm a real competitive guy, so I take it personal when somebody scores on me and stuff. So.
Well, there he is, the shot blocker, Eli Parquet, at 4 against Washington State. And we caught up with head coach Tad Boyle to hear some post-game comments after the victory over the Cougars.
A win is a win. You can't ever complain about that. But I think anybody who watched that game tonight and saw how we played, especially towards the end of the first half offensively, and then in the second half offensively, understands that Colorado's got to play better than that. In order to, be successful as this year plays out. So I thought we got really lackadaisical with the basketball. We made really poor decisions offensively in the second half with the basketball. And, turnovers have not been an issue for this team this year, but they became one tonight. And I don't know at what point we had our first one, but I think, we were first 12, 13, 14 minutes of the game, we didn't have any turnovers. And then all of a sudden, boom, at the end of the half, that last offensive possession at the end of the half was indicative of kind of where the game was going offensively for us in terms of our ineptness, lack of execution, lack of toughness, lack of communication, lack of decision-making. we got to be better than that offensively.
There's head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffs victory over Washington State, back-to-back wins, in fact, over the Cougars. A couple more minutes here with Eli Parquet. After that one, you guys are feeling good. You come home and you play against Utah, and things don't go your way. You give up a 19-point second-half lead. That's a disappointing game for a team that's competing for a Pac-12 championship, isn't it?
We started off. It was started off up this end of the first half, and then it was up, like you said, an 18-point lead, and we just started letting them make shots. He told us, Coach Boyle told us to take the threes away, but they got some off. So that's pretty much what happened.
So you guys can't let this thing kind of affect you a second time. And the Washington loss and this one here, those are tough losses for you guys. You're still in a position to keep for the Pac-12 championship. Right. How do you view things moving forward?
This whole week, our emphasis has been finishing games, finish possessions, offense and defense. We just have to go in and finish, start off strong and finish the whole game.
Yeah. Arizona State, Arizona coming to town this week. Great opportunity for you guys, but neither game's going to be easy, right?
Right.
Yeah. The Buffaloes have got Arizona State on Thursday night, late game, as they'll take on the Sun Devils before Arizona over the weekend. Do you still guys think you are in the middle of this thing in terms of competing for a championship?
Oh, yeah. We're always confident in that. We just have to go out there and play like it.
Yeah. Buffaloes and Sun Devils on Thursday night. Eli, good luck this week.
Appreciate it.
Eli Parquet and the Buffaloes will take on the Sun Devils after a very tough loss to Utah here at the Event Center. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Eli's teammate, Maddox Daniels. Back in a moment on the Stampede. Maddox Daniels back up top to King. Left side. Maddox again for three. Right between the eyes from Dash. There's the roll. Play it left side. Daniels pulls out. 3 ball on the way. Back in the Buffalo Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, talking men's basketball. Tough one as the Buffs end up getting a midweek victory over Washington State, but really a tough loss to Utah by 4 here at the Event Center. Maddox Daniels kind enough to join us here for a couple of minutes. We'll glance back to Wazoo before we kind of deal with the matter at hand here today. But Maddox playing back-to-back games against Washington State. You guys come out and get a nice victory. Buffs playing pretty well during that stretch, don't you feel?
Yeah, I definitely think in the second half at Washington State, we bounced back really well. Ken went down in the first half. We played well. Then going into the game at home, I feel like, all of us felt good. We were confident, but it was really a shaky game. We won, which is good, but we definitely felt like we could have played better in that Washington State game at home.
Yeah, Buffs do get the nice victory there, then bounce back with a game against Utah. Yeah. Utah has been a tough out for Colorado. It's always interesting how some programs have some other programs can be a tough out. This one here, I think you guys walk away very disappointed. You're up by 19 with about 8:45 to play in this ball game. End up losing. Kind of take us in the locker room afterward and what the topic of conversation was.
Yeah, Coach just said, this one hurts. Maybe even more than the one at Washington, because at Washington, they were hitting a lot of shots, and it was kind of like their whole team was kind of clicking, and we scored, I think it was like 80-something there. We scored, 72, 74 here, it just hurt this time because it was really one guy, that we let get going, it's just tough, kind of felt the energy shift, but we got to be able to finish. That was the theme all week in practice, just finishing possessions and finishing the game, and we really felt like we wanted to play better after the Washington State game on Wednesday, and coming into this one, we felt like we were playing good up until that minute mark, and I don't think a lot of us saw it coming, but it happened, and the only thing we can do is bounce back. So
did play well for about 30 of the 40 minutes. It was that last roughly 9 minutes or so, and the Buffs were outscored 31-9. Let's hear some post-game comments from head coach Tad Boyle.
I'm not sure I've ever been more disappointed in a loss in my career. I mean, to have a game in hand like that and not finish it, and it's not like we didn't talk about the way that they could get back in the game and the way that they could, at some point you got to stop talking about things and you got to do them. And I know the mantra you heard McKinley, you heard Geraghty talk about the idea of finishing, and tonight was the epitome of not finishing. Plummer got going, and we had no answer. And we talked about there's 2 ways they can get back in this game. Number 1 is if we foul them and put them at the foul line. And number 2 is we let them get hot from 3. And they did both. And it's finishing possessions on defense just as much as it is finishing possessions on offense. Finishing on offense means we got to put the ball in the hole. We missed some bunnies there. We didn't put foul pressure on them. We're a team that gets to the foul line a lot. Tonight we couldn't get to the foul line. So we got to finish. We got to put the ball in the hole.
Post-game comments from head coach Tad Boyle after the Buffaloes give up a 19-point second-half lead, end up falling to the Utes of Utah here at the Event Center. We continue with Maddox Daniels. Maddox, I wonder, when you had a first half like you guys did, you were hitting the three fantastically. Is it easy to kind of maybe get away from kind of working inside out when that shot's falling and you start feeling good about that, and maybe the ball's not going in the paint as much as it normally would?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things Coach Boyle said. That definitely can happen.
Yeah.
Because it was falling in the first half, and going into the second half, Coach Roan after the game talked about our shot selection was not very good, especially in those last 10 minutes. So we just got to be conscious of that and understand that playing inside out was the game plan going in, and we got to stick to that for all 40 minutes and trust it. And we didn't put a lot of foul pressure on them either. We weren't really I don't think we were in the bonus in the second half.
No, you weren't.
And we should be. So, that's what happened.
This is the first time this season the Buffaloes haven't made 10 or more foul shots in a ball game, and neither half did they get into the bonus. I'm wondering from a defensive standpoint, you've known this now in your second season with Tad. You got to play defense to play for Tad Boyle, right?
Yeah.
You go back to the Washington game and now this one.
Yeah. Defensive
breakdowns, weren't there?
Yeah, definitely defensive breakdowns. Things that it's tough because it's things that we can control, and yeah, just those breakdowns, them hitting threes. That's what hurt us. Coach said they're going to get back in the game with foul shots and threes.
Right.
We don't need to give them those. We want to keep them making tough twos, but we gave them the foul shots and threes, and we just got to watch film and learn from it because we can't let it happen again.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the
for.
kind of thing you don't want to let this beat you twice. So you guys got to learn some lessons from this.
Yeah, we have to. If we can't, then we have to, regardless.
All right, Buffaloes have got Arizona State and Arizona coming up this week. We thank Maddox Daniels for coming by and chatting with us for a few minutes. Coming up next here in the Stampede, we're going to talk some soccer. Finally, soccer gets played. Libby Geraghty is going to join us next.
For the goal, Zuniga blast this one in toward Korniak. Header right in front of the goal, and in it goes. Colorado goal. Buffaloes have their first score of the 2019 season. Gets that through to Rue Yarnell Williams. Williams shot. Freshman goal. Rue Yarnell Williams in her second collegiate game hits the back of the net. 2-0 Buffs.
Back in the Buffalo Stampede, we're talking a little soccer today. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Finally, soccer getting underway. Junior Libby Geraghty joining us here for a couple of minutes. I saw a couple of highlights from last season. It seems like a lifetime ago when you guys were actually playing soccer, doesn't it?
So long. I think the last time we played a full soccer game was the NCAA tournament against North Carolina. So we cannot wait.
It has been surreal. We get some of the basketball guys behind us there, and football finally got going. We've had basketball. All you folks in the other sports have had to wait so long. Kind of take us through your off season. It had to be surreal, just like every other student athlete, I would think, right?
Yeah, it was strange. We got here in the summer. We trained normally. We expected to start, and right after 3 weeks of preseason, we found out we weren't.
Yeah.
So that was such a bummer for all of us, but we just had to change our mindset and change back into this is going to be our off season. Just more time to practice, more time to get better. So it was a long fall. But
so what was the fall semester like? What did Danny Sanchez have you guys doing? I mean, besides taking virtual classes, right?
Yeah. It was pretty different for the first half because COVID protocols, we couldn't train how we normally did.
Sure.
There wasn't a lot of full field playing. It was a lot of technical work, a lot of shooting, a lot of small group stuff. It was definitely different to not be able to see the team as a whole unit till now, but I think we got better, we got technically better, and it'll show this season.
So how do you feel about this team? Now that you got back practicing and you're getting ready for competition, how do you feel about what you're seeing from this roster?
I feel really good about it. We have a lot of young players on the team this year, so the team feels new and it feels different. We lost a lot of really big-time players for us. So to have that extra fall season to get used to each other, everyone's playing so well, everyone's so comfortable with each other, and it'll be really cool to see what we can do on a full field.
Well, we're going to continue with Libby here in just a moment, but let's take a look at some preseason action for the CU soccer team.
It's honestly been great to be back. I think everybody's working hard, and they did the stuff over break to be prepared for season, and it's refreshing. I think the team's in a good little dynamic right now. We probably haven't had as much preparation that we usually have in the fall with non-conference games. It's also super exciting, and we haven't played in a year, and we should all be ready to get out there and just play our best. Not playing in the fall was a setback and disappointing for sure, especially being a senior, but we've all never played the competitive spring like we are now, and so I think we have to just be ready for first times, and this is a whole first time season in the spring, so it'll be exciting. We've been in like a season of so many unknowns recently, so it's nice to kind of have a tentative schedule, whether that looks, positive or not. It's exciting to have a calendar for sure.
Getting ready for that soccer team to finally get itself on the field. Like a lot of the other sports here at the University of Colorado, didn't get a chance to compete during the fall. Now you got on the schedule coming up. Kind of tell us what's coming up for the soccer team.
So we get our first game next weekend, February 6th against Denver.
Okay.
We're really looking forward to that game. Denver's a big rival for us, so we know we're going to start the season strong against a good team.
Right.
And that'll be fun. And then we have 2 more home games, and then we get right into Pac-12.
Well, let me tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, and how you ended up here at the University of Colorado.
Well, I'm from Centennial, Colorado. I went to Cherry Creek High School, and I knew I wanted to play in the Pac-12. It's one of the best conferences in the country for women's soccer.
Yeah.
And I liked the idea of being close to home. And not to mention, Colorado does compete every year.
Right.
They're an amazing program, and it just seemed like the perfect fit for me.
Once you're in Colorado, why go anywhere else, right?
Exactly. Why would you want to leave?
Did you even entertain going anywhere else?
I did. I had a few, but when I got the offer here, it was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So.
At the Pac-12 conference, I mean, we call it the Conference of Champions. It's a high-level soccer in the Pac-12, right?
Absolutely. Every year, the NCAA tournament takes a couple at-large bids.
Sure.
And Pac-12 usually gets about 8 of those. So we send almost everyone from our conference in, and so that means no conference game is ever going to be an easy one.
Right. All right. You got DU coming up. Let's get off on the right foot, all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Libby Geraghty joining us. CU Soccer here on the Buffalo Stampede. Coming up next, let's talk women's basketball.
To the left side wing to Aubrey Knight, drive down the lane, the layup at the right hand, high off the glass for Tila in the lane, out to Peanut, out to Maya. Maya launches a 3. Yes, sir. Goodman got into the lane and kicked it back out. Maya Hollingshead running the floor and not going to shoot. Here to the near side, 3 on the way. It's swatted away.
And we got some highlights from the Colorado Buffaloes against Oregon State here at the Event Center. Back in the Stampede, voice of the boss, Mark Johnson, JR Payne, joining us for a couple of moments here. Buffaloes lose a close one there. And I know you came away from that one with one of those that kind of sits in your stomach for a couple of days, didn't you?
Yeah, there's games that, you kind of move on and go to the next one, and then there's games that you just can't get over. It takes time to get over. I was pretty disappointed, with Friday night's game. But again, the games come so quickly. We're already moving on. We can't simmer too long on a Friday night loss. We got to get ready for the next one.
There are basics and principles that every coaching staff has in America that you pound into your players' heads. Yeah. And I think what bothered you a little bit about that ball game is maybe some of those mental mistakes by your team, not executing what they already know, correct?
That definitely was the most frustrating thing. I can totally understand running great offense and just missing the shot.
Sure.
Or we're in a stance, we're communicating, we're doing everything fundamentally sound defensively. They just hit a shot, on a contested shot. But there was a lot of possessions where, we just didn't do our job. We weren't doing, as locked in. We weren't communicating defensively, switching things we weren't supposed to switch, doubling down off people you're not supposed to double off, things like that. Those are the things that are really frustrating because I really feel like those are the only things we really can control.
Yeah.
So when we don't control those things, that's tough to swallow.
I think sometimes, too, a lot of fans don't understand. You hear us mention during a broadcast, radio or television, about scouting reports.
Oh, yeah.
And what you do as a staff breaking down the opposition and tendencies that you let your team know about, correct?
Sure. Yeah. We always say we're giving you the answers to the test. Here are the answers. The test is Friday night at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Your opponent is going to be in orange, and this is what they're going to do. Or this player can shoot the ball and different things like that. So, yeah, we definitely pour into that, and I can guarantee this weekend we'll be more locked in.
Yeah, the Buffaloes dropped that game to the Beavers, and then they didn't have a second game last weekend. There was a pause in the program for Oregon, so it ended up being a one-game week for the Buffaloes. Afterwards, we heard from Sila Finau.
I myself have to step up as well as others, because I'm not the only person on the team. I feel like if we're all contributing and hitting on all cylinders, we'll be a great team. At the same time, it's also on ourselves because we're the ones out there playing. We're the ones playing defense, allowing them to score. So I think we just need to take this game and learn from it. I think Coach Jay mentioned it earlier in the locker room, their shooting percentage. I think they were shooting 55 from the field while we were shooting 42, because I think, yeah, we were doing well offensively and defensively, but in the end, they were just shooting the ball better.
There's some comments from Sila Finau after the Buffs lost to the Beavers. Now they get set to go on the road against the Bay Area schools after that one-game week. And, JR, that's the one thing that's been hard to get used to, but for everybody in men's and women's basketball is the pause we're seeing. Yeah. Oregon's in that right now. You didn't play. Cal has not played since you saw him last time.
Yeah.
That's kind of built in all of a sudden the preparation for you guys.
It definitely changes things because you pour a lot into the preparation for a game that doesn't happen. You know, so sometimes that emotional sort of, we're ready, oh, it didn't happen. We're ready, it didn't happen, is difficult, especially for the players. And you want those games and you want to play everybody and you want to play them twice and, get a chance to do that. And we haven't had that chance. For the last couple of weeks, both of our Sunday games have been canceled due to our opponents having to pause.
Yeah, so now the Buffaloes, as I mentioned, go on the roads. They take on the Stanford Cardinal. The last time the Buffs, I think you remember, saw Stanford on this court right here. You knocked off the #1 team in America. Something tells me, not that they were the first time, but you're not sneaking up on Stanford at all.
I don't think we're sneaking up on Stanford. No, I definitely think they will have watched the film and, definitely have a game plan for Maya, who played really, really well that night. But we had a great practice today, man. If we could play the way we played today, I expect more good things.
Yeah. Well, your team knows they can beat them. Good luck on Friday night.
Thank you.
All right, that's JR Payne. She and the women take on Stanford 7 o'clock. And by the way, this is the first time that Stanford gets a chance to play in its home court with changes to some COVID rules there in their home county. The CU men have got Arizona State at 9 o'clock on Thursday night here at the Event Center. I'm Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us in Buffalo Stampede. We'll talk to you next time.